Happy Sunday, people. It's Wellness Nerd Out time. Also a little motivation time, baby. Coming at you here today on Sunday in a beautiful day in September. How you guys doing today? So it's Nerd Out plus motivation because today I want to talk about what smoking does to your body. A lot of us love smoking, whether it's out of glass or cigarettes or, cigars and nicotine and any sort of way. But if you do, I know everybody tells you to quit smoking, but let's just talk about a few things it does to your body, and then you can make the decision for yourself. So when you smoke, you always think of the lungs, right? But it also causes the increase in the buildup of tar around the teeth. And it's not just in the lungs. The tar builds up on the teeth, and it can lead to tooth decay. So now you can lose your teeth. It destroys nerve endings that are responsible for smell, and now you can't smell those beautiful flowers when you're playing with the kids, or just smelling flowers. Try to hit the heart a little bit. And when we talk about the lungs, how does it negatively affect lungs? Well, the smoke, it burns. By the way, there's more than 5,000 harmful chemicals that come with each inhalation of tobacco smoke. So that's a lot of terrible shit that's going into your body that could cause a lot of things to go wrong. And when you inhale the smoke and it burns away those cilia, those little hairs that prevent debris from getting into the lungs, and they also help to protect you from things like infections, and so you're increased risk for going through infections now and chronic diseases like COPD and chronic bronchitis and things like emphysema, and mucus builds up in your lungs, and those little sacs, those alveoli, now they become damaged and they become more rigid and fibrotic and stiff. And that's not the only issue with them. Another big one is what they're transporting into the bloodstream, where normally oxygen would be traveling through them, and it would bind to the hemoglobin and red blood cells, and it would be transported on those red blood cells with the oxygen to other tissues in the body to oxygenate them to improve their function, right? The necessity for life. Instead of CO2, CO goes through those alveolar sacs into the bloodstream, and it binds to the blood vessels, binds to the red blood cells, excuse me. So what's CO? I'm sure you heard of it. It's carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is now taking the place of oxygen, and this is one of the reasons that these people get shortness of breath, and you just feel fatigued when you smoke. One of many reasons. When we talk about your blood vessels, nicotine causes vasoconstriction, and it damages the endothelial lining. That's the lining of the inside lining of your blood vessels, and it makes the platelets stickier. So now everything is closing in. That's what vasoconstriction is. The blood vessels closing in. You damage the wall, so they get thicker on top of that, right? So they get thicker. Now there's even less space. They're closing in, and the platelets become stickier. So what do you think happens with blood flow to the brain, blood flow to the heart? What are we at a very highly increased risk of here? Well, stroke or heart attack, right? I mean, you can get there in so many different ways. It's not just by eating all this crappy food and, drinking alcohol and all these things. Smoking is yet another way that we can get there, right? Unfortunately. Cancer, we all know about cancer. 1 in 3 cancer deaths every year are from smoking, all right? And it's not just lung cancer. So here's the issue before we talk about some other different types of cancers. Now, your DNA repair mechanisms have been diminished over time, right? It's similar to somebody that has had overexposure to UV rays for years and years and years, and they've gotten copious amounts of sun, which some is good. Too much of anything isn't a good thing. And they've now damaged that mechanism. That mechanism has failed. That repairs DNA normally. Normally it would get fragmented and then just repaired. But like any machine, your body is a biological machine, and eventually things fail, right? And we get older, and things become less elastic, and they just don't work as well, just like your car, right? And so we can't repair this DNA as well when we have these harmful chemicals like arsenic or nickel that are taken in through the smoke, and now they're damaging DNA, and they're inhibiting its ability to repair properly, and now causing deleterious mutations and things that can lead to cancer, right? And so aside from lung cancer, we have nose, throat, esophagus, sinus, stomach, pancreatic, liver cancer, kidney, cancer of the ureters, ureteral cancer, ovarian cancer, acute myeloid leukemia, so many, bladder cancer, if we didn't say that. So many types of cancers you can get from smoking. It's really, really remarkable. We always think of lung cancer, but you can get an absolute ton of them. Not to mention, it's terrible for your eyes. It can make your eyesight worse. Now you can't see things as well. I mean, it's just not something you think of every time you're looking for that quick head rush, right? Your bones become weaker. You're more likely to fracture them, right? So you could be worried about getting all this calcium and vitamin D and magnesium and phosphorus, all these sorts of things. But if you smoke, counterproductive to a lot of the other good things you're doing, right? So the list is very long, and that's just a few things that we've named. But here's the important thing. If you have been smoking for a long time, if you quit, you can recover almost to near normal at years out with people that, you'll be very close with people that had never smoked. So a few things that would happen in, say, 20 some minutes after you quit smoking is your heart rate and your blood pressure would come back to normal. They would come back down. And conversely, if you smoked again, you might say, oh, well, if I don't have a cigarette for an hour, then my blood pressure and heart rate, there's still a ton of damage to your vessels, and in the long run, you're going to have increased blood pressure, and your heart rate will be crazy, right? That's one thing. The cilia, they start to grow back in a few weeks, and the nerve endings that were destroyed with smell, 2 days in, they'll start to grow back. You'll start to smell things again. It could take a week. It depends on how long you've smoked, how much you've smoked. But that's just a matter of days, so it's something to be excited about. It's not like this is unrecoverable. This is something that if you stop, things will get better. Your risk for developing coronary artery disease at 15 years has pretty much become just about the same as someone who's never smoked. 15 years out from smoking. A year out, your risk for heart disease is cut in half. 5 years out, your risk for stroke dramatically decreases, and clotting in general in the blood. 10 years out, your risk for developing cancer has dramatically decreased by at least half, right? So there is hope for you if you're somebody that loves it. And if you look for that quick buzz that people love, I've smoked cigars before, right? In an occasion, once in a long while, and that's not good for me, right? But I know what it does to my body now. So if I didn't know this before, now if I go to smoke and I think about this, it's going to be hard for me to enjoy it, and you might hate me if you're somebody that's going to go take a hit of something or go smoke and enjoy it. I'm not trying to make your day miserable, but I want you to know that if you start to wean off, then there's hope for you in the future, and you can live a healthy life, a great life, and you can be around for a long time, if not for yourself, for the people that love you. So, try and at least do it less. If you want to quit, they have pouches, they have gum, they have. So what is it that's so addictive? Well, it's a nicotine, of course, right? And it's causing your brain to release dopamine and good endorphins. And it tells you it loves this, and it's responsible for feeling pleasure, right? And so you think it's such a good thing in your brain. It's being tricked. But you can get that stimulation from other things. One of the biggest boosters of dopamine is exercise. Exercise. You can have coffee if you want to wean off. I think, and you look at it online and they'll say, all right, well, this could be an issue that people that quit smoking, they dramatically increase their caffeine intake. There are beneficial health outcomes with people that have 3 cups, even 4 cups of coffee a day. I personally think, that's not as much due to the caffeine as it is the type of person that has that much coffee. They're typically a go-getter. They're active. They're typically not overweight. They're probably pretty healthy for the most part, right? And maybe that's responsible for a lot of beneficial health outcomes that we see. But it's way, 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 way better than smoking. I mean, hands down. It's even good for you, boosting your metabolism, improving focus, attention, all sorts of things, right? So, maybe try that. Maybe you quit in the afternoon now, you can have a cup of coffee. Even if you have to have 3 cups the first day, 4 cups the first few days. So freaking worth it, because your craving's going to be reduced so much, even just a few days in of quitting. It doesn't take that long. You go through those withdrawals, you know, that anxiousness, the fatigue, the just, restlessness. You might, you're pissed off all the time. That kind of stuff is only going to last you for like 3 days, typically, an average person. So you just got to get over that hump, and now you know what it does to your body, at least to some degree. That's not absolutely everything it does, but a bunch of good reasons not to do it. So, happy Wend Wellness. That's what we got. Who do we got on here? Let's say hello to the homies. And we're going to go play some pickleball actually today. Women burn 350 calories on average playing pickleball. Men, 475. We talked about that yesterday. We were talking about alternatives for cardio. What up, Nahun? Momo, Das, 4371. I should come up with a different way to say all your guys' names. That would be fun, at least the ones I recognize. I'm Jesus Garcia. ¿Qué pasa? I'm Jay Prometsu. How are you, my friend? Thank you for hopping on. It's sunny, so I'm trying to see here. RT Birko. What up, what up? Guillermo Farner. Guillermo Farner. Muchas gracias. Thank you for coming on. Disney Bound 86. Damn. You go to Disney a lot. That's your name. Good for you. Disney's a great time and it's expensive as shit. If you bring a whole family, it's like 10 grand for it's nuts. Richard Wharton. But it's a great place. Edu Camus. Allie Randall. Taylor James Watson. Buddy E. Sharp. OM. Bunch of numbers. How you doing? DK Minor. Mano Salva. What's up? What's up? OG. Always up in here. Mark and Russell. Another OG. Seeing you a bunch. Ron Roy. What's happening? Holly. What's up, girl? How you doing? Asu Patrick and Thomas 22 couple. First one's on today. Thank you very much for the support. This one is for you, my fine feathered friends. I hope you have a great Sunday. I hope you all have a great Sunday. Go do something healthy. Go do something great for yourself. Go do something fun. It can all be mixed. You enjoy. Thanks so much. And happy Wend Wellness. See you later.